Yes, and I
I'd
think
like to keep it hard to get a hold of me though.
yes.
I like to be elusive.
I don't love having to hire people to staff Sundays when I wasn't open before and now I am because of, demand increase. I hate that.
I hate being busy.
I hate making money.
Me
Screw
too.
leads. God.
So don't put QR codes in your store,
And-
especially
and-
flow
and
codes, which
speaking-
work
and
better.
Speaking of work,
Mitch West, here we are having a conversation. You are in Myrtle Beach. I am in Midwest Wisconsin. Go, we're here.
well, it's great to connect with you here. We love working with you guys. Flow code is now synonymous with pure success for us at Nexstar. We have fully embraced this both on news as well on the sales side, and I can't say enough great things. So I'm so happy to be a part of this conversation.
I mean, we're calling people and just dorking out about the options that there are between news coverage, sales opportunities, and then the idea that you now have digital results or analytics on a product that's been analog for, since it's existed.
Since it began. I mean, this station started with, this is the original logo in 1954, October 1954. And you're right, nothing had changed until really this technology came along. And what I love about what we're able to do is provide online attribution within 15 minutes of them seeing that either on television or in nonlinear with streaming. And it's a
Mitch, I don't think, as me and we joke about like not being great at starting the podcast, but you work for Nexstar and you're a regional director. But I don't want to make you tell us what you do and let's just go from there.
So I have the privilege of working with 13 fantastic markets across the country, from Indianapolis to Kansas City and St. Louis, to Savannah, Georgia, Myrtle Beach, Charleston, Augusta. Great vacation spots, by the way. So extending a lot of weekend trips to invite my partner to come join me. But my job is to help generate revenue, help coach the team, help recruit new talent, to retain talent, vet vendors, finding the right fit for opportunities that we have. And it's the best job I've ever had in the world because every week is a different market and a different challenge. And then collectively us working together to really help local businesses. And at the end of the day, the lifeblood of our business at Nexstar from a sales perspective is to help connect consumers with these advertisers who are working with us. So the tools and the assets that we can provide, the experience, the case studies, our history, and our ability to tap into that history is what we do best and what we're so proud of.
So okay, you work with Nexstar, you go around all these places, and we talked a little bit before recording, just how I think station groups, and I've worked for a bunch of station groups, aren't traditionally great at passing stuff down from, big city to small city, or big city to newly acquired city, or any way the other way, because a lot of times innovation happens in market 201 and not market 21. So I think people who are doing what you're doing, going to multiple places saying, hey, here's options, here's a way to make money, here's a playbook. I mean, you walk around with a playbook and you help people get better and you add to it. It's like a coach, right?
I will say one of the biggest misconceptions that I face having large markets, because I help manage WGN and PIX in New York and KTLA, Dallas and Fort Worth as part of my scope of responsibility in my 5 years. And then also working with small markets like Savannah. And one of the things that I've tried to overcome was, well, we're not New York, we're not Chicago. And I said, no, but the technology, and in particular, this technology can be rolled out and deployed regardless if it's, Market One or Matula, Mississippi.
Mhm.
The same technology can be used. It's just the scale of what you're doing in those markets and who you're reaching. So I think that is important, and we've got to continue to overcome those misconceptions. And I love that you're tackling it from your side, because you see it, and you see it because you've been there and
Yeah.
you've worked with these markets. And when some of our smaller markets can get out of this "we're not big enough" mentality, I want them to think big, and I want them to close big.
Mhm.
And so let's compete. Let's compete with the big dogs. And it's not that you have to have millions of dollars to invest in technology. You make it very affordable for people to be able to use this technology and hit the ground running quickly.
You're hitting my points for me there. I'm okay with it. No,
Okay,
I mean,
well,
but it's an affordable. Flow code is an affordable option for stations who want to make sure that they're, it's funny that you say that, because the biggest education for me on flow codes, QR codes, quick response, anything on TV, and then measuring has been Salinas, California. The salad bowl of America is what it's called. It's where all of our lettuce comes from. And it's the Telemundo station in that market doesn't get traditional metrics for ratings or feedback. But I'll tell you, when you put a QR code on TV in Salinas on Telemundo with a reason to scan the code, not just, oh, I put a code on so people are going to scan it, but you say, hey, if you want coronavirus information, you can scan this code and go to the page right now that's continuously updated. And I know that might be like an old example or whatever to make, but I'm still getting scans in Salinas, California for people who want coronavirus information on a daily basis. And it's a terrible looking spot, but it's information that they need, because it was a spec spot. It was a thing that we were trying, and it
Well,
worked, but hundreds and hundreds of people.
You're right. And guess what? A terrible looking spot is a great segue to the Super Bowl. I mean,
Oh my
we had
gosh.
this horrendous looking spot that was both terrible and brilliant at the same time, because they gave you nothing. And the first thing I thought of when the QR code, of course, I thought Megan. I said, I can't wait to text Megan. But the other thing was, it was bouncing around the screen like a DVD screensaver. Remember when the DVD would go off screen and it would pop around, or the old computer screen when it would kind of bounce around? That was kind of that mentality that they were going for. And as soon as it ended, a friend of mine said, oh my God, you predicted this 2 weeks ago that there was going to be a QR code. And I did. I predicted that this year would be the first year. I didn't know how it would be deployed. I thought maybe it would be on the screen somewhere where they could scan it. But I knew that in 2020, it gained a new birth because of COVID. 2021 became the year that it was embraced in marketing and advertising, and 2022 is the beginning of what is going to be next with this technology. So it's incredible stuff, and someone was willing to invest over $7 million, and it was the second highest, by the way, the second highest Super Bowl in history, with over 12 million views. Second only to, I think it was 2018 with 14 million views. So great game. And I didn't have a dog in the fight. I didn't really care who won. And my husband said, oh, well, we're going for the Bengals. I said, why? He goes, I like their outfits. I think they're cute. I was like, okay, well, I guess we could root for the Bengals.
I mean, I was in the same boat. First, I mean, just multiple things. One, same boat. I was watching for the commercials. That's just been sort of my thing.
Oh, yeah.
Years ago, Brett Favre ruined football for me because I worked in Wisconsin markets, and he meant that I didn't get weekends because he might retire perpetually forever.
He was like the share. He was the share of football.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
If we could just turn back time.
Turn back.
But the next part of it, Megan, where were you when that amazing, life-changing QR code spot
Yes.
Scared. Where were you? You must have been
I was
excited.
on a plane, Mitch.
Oh.
I didn't even see it.
Oh,
I didn't even see it until I got off the plane. And immediately I was like, my phone blew up. I started like internally screaming. I was like, oh my God, the most validating moment of my career so far. And I missed it. And
you
so
were
then
jammed between two big people in a center seat. Just
I was in a window seat, thank God. And I was on my way to New York, which is great because I got to be in the office the next morning. But no, I missed it. I totally missed it. I scanned it on a desktop computer. I will never get over that injustice, honestly. I mean,
So-
but I know I did that to me by scheduling that flight, but also.
Well, you didn't know that was going to be a spot in the game, but it is something that you should be very proud of, because when you worked for Nexstar, you sounded the alarm for us. And I remember sitting in that restaurant bar that we weren't drinking because it was like 11 o'clock in the afternoon, and you were walking through this and explaining to me what this was. And I was floored by it, remember? And I said,
That was your last Chicago market visit, I think. And I think we just met up in the morning, like before meetings and stuff. And I was like, Mitch, I have to show you this thing.
yes, because I was working with WGN Radio that day. And so I said, can you meet at my hotel, which was like walking distance from WGN Radio? And you started showing me this and showing me the data and showing what you guys had done. And I was just floored by it. I'm like, we got to get this out to everybody. Everybody's got to see this. So.
Well, and you have been an amazing Flow Code cheerleader, Mitch. I mean, I know we work with so many of your markets now, which is incredible. And, seeing the engagement across Nexstar in general is obviously it's near and dear to my own heart, but like seeing it even now, it's like Nexstar is really like blazing the trail right now, which is so exciting.
And I shared this before the recording. I'm in Myrtle Beach this week doing my typical market visits. As you know, we do this all over the country. Two questions come up. We talk about OTT because everyone wants to be on the platform. And the second thing is, I want to incorporate a QR code. Can you help me with that? Oh, can I help you with that? Of course I can. Every single call today.
I love that.
So it is this groundswell that's taking place, and more. And one thing we were talking about, the misconception that something in a small market can't happen, or in a big market can't happen in a small market. This is the exception to the rule. Is regardless of the size of the market, you can deploy a great campaign that can be funny, can be emotional, can be engaging. Do you know when I knew flow code and QR codes were here for the future? I'm sitting on a plane across from an 85-year-old woman who heard an announcement that said, if you want to download the American Airlines Entertainment app, scan this QR code. And I watched her take out her phone, take out the QR code, scan it, and download it. And I just said, ma'am, I work with a company that does this all the time, and I'm just curious, how did you learn to do it? She goes, my grandkids taught me. And I thought, if an 85-year-old woman can embrace this technology, and we've trained everybody in 2020 with a menu. 100%. Anyone could do it. And of course, QR codes, as we talked about many times about this, it's been around for a while, but with the new technology in our phones, you don't have to have a QR code reader. It's very easy. And one thing that I love, and I said this earlier, is it is purposeful. As Megan, you would say, nobody accidentally scans that QR code.
I've been saying it for like a year now.
No one's ever heard you say that, Megan.
Nobody's ever heard me say it. It's like, Mitch, that's worked its way into like flow code materials now. I'm very like proud of that, but like, it's true. It's, see, this is me over here. No, but like, that's the thing, right? It's like the intentional action of it. And then your ability to learn so much. That intentional action is so like opted in. And then when you have that engagement and you pixel that user, you collect that CRM data, you learn who that most valuable audience member is, and then learn how to find more of them. And that's like really what it is. It's the attribution tool. It's the conversion is amazing, but the ability to really optimize traditional media the way we have been optimizing digital for years is just like a really exciting opportunity.
And I think the next step in the education of our markets is understanding all of that data and information behind that technology that you're bringing to bear for us is, as I always say, knowledge is power. And if you embrace this and understand it, it can be that secret weapon you take everywhere. And, we're not the only ones that do QR codes, and we're not saying we've never claimed that, but I think we do it well because we were doing it first. You helped lead the charge for us within the company. And then, using that catalyst, and then, by the way, this was on heels of another great product that she brought to us that's now a standard product for the whole company. We call it POE, or point of entry. Again, great ideas, and we love great ideas. Perry Sook loves great ideas. He says that creativity is the new currency. Ideas are the new currency, and that's important, and that's what we try to do, is bring great ideas. So harnessing that technology, I think, is going to be key as we continue to evolve and grow, and how we use this technology.
Have you run into any spots, Mitch, that, so I mean, the points that continuously come up for us when we're talking about this is it's kind of ugly. Who's going to really scan? How does it really have to be up for that long? Questions that kind of aren't about realizing the action that can happen. And I'd call them the creative blocks that we've used for years and years. And now we've kind of gotten into that, oh, well, this is the way it's always been done. Who do I have to check with to put a QR code on? That sounds pretty fancy. It's so easy. Like, I don't program, but I can get you from a QR code to a data input page on the station or lawyer website pretty easily.
So, let's unpack that because I have addressed that with markets. It's ugly. Mm-hmm. Well, QR codes were never designed to be pieces of art. They were meant to be a functioning piece of technology that got you to more information of things that you were interested in. How long does it need to be on the screen? Well, we watch 10, 15, 30-second spots, and I've seen QR codes in all of them. As long as you have enough time to pull that phone out. And by the way, that phone is never more than a foot away from me.
Let's be real. I don't think I know a single person who isn't watching TV with their phones in their hands.
Exactly.
Sidebar.
So, I mean, and I was one of the ones that helped crash the site on Super Bowl because I scanned the code. So, and then I texted Megan. So it is, I think that this argument that we can't do it, we've never done it. I don't know how we incorporate the technology. I think those are minor speed bumps, and simply talking through to anyone that has those objections. And by the way, if somebody says we got to get legal approval on this, we're not curing cancer here. If we're selling lawnmowers, we need to involve legal. As long as we're not doing anything illegal, I don't see what the issue is. But hey, if you got to do your due diligence and you got to get them involved, that's fine. We understand that's your process. But I think sometimes we overcomplicate the way that this thing could be executed. It's not that difficult, and the rewards of taking a few extra steps and being ready to go. And I think, as we discussed about the Super Bowl spot, I don't think they knew how powerful that was going to be for them. I don't think otherwise the site wouldn't have crashed.
That site would not have crashed. Yeah, no, for sure.
And so I think too, working with you guys, knowing the best practices, preparing ahead of time, being ready for that deployment, I think would also help. And that's the beauty of being able to work with you guys and our clients, to be able to set them up for success right out of the gate.
Another one that we've kind of run into, but I think we've got an answer for it. Well, what if we start doing them on every spot and people get fatigued? Like, well, they haven't got fatigued at the phone numbers we're putting up, and they're not fatigued at the websites that we're putting up. We've said from the beginning, the longer the phone number's up, the easier it is to write it down as if that's something people do anymore. But
Well, and then the question, and sorry, Nick, I'm jumping
you
in on you,
should
but
be sorry.
I feel passionately about this. Is like, when did we when was the website or the phone number the only part of the equation? When did we stop trying to earn consumer loyalty with our messaging and with our brand? And the whole idea here is that people aren't responding to the flow code. They're not responding to the QR code in somebody's spot. They're responding to the messaging.
Mhm.
And so we get back to the idea of like earning first party data, earning audience loyalty, earning that consumer. Again, the intentional action of scanning shows that that person is engaged with that message. What does that mean for brands and content creators? It means that we have to get better at telling that story, and that it's not about it's not a banner blindness situation. It's not I'm ignoring that QR code because I see them everywhere. We see increasing numbers of people scanning QR codes because they know what it means. We see increased numbers of people scanning flow codes because they're starting to understand that there's a content experience on the back end of that. And what that means for content creators is that, like, it's not, the QR code is not the question. The message is the question.
So I always say, and this is one of my original quotes, is that content is king, but data is its queen. And if you provide great data, again, we're going into a cookieless world in 2023. First party data is vital to these companies, and this jumpstarts this for them if they are not in that arena. So I think that's one thing that I wanted to unpack from your comment. The other thing I think that it's important to keep in mind is that it is so easy once that they scan that QR code, and if it's something we want to buy, it's already autofilled. All my information, my address, my credit card, all I do is swipe and we're good. And it's nailed to me. So we're making it easy from point A to point delivery, literally in 1 or 2 steps. And that QR code launches that, and then it autofills once you're in there. So if the goal is to get people to set up appointments, we're using it at an automotive dealership right now for setting up appointments for the service department. They've seen a 27% increase in the last 2 months of doing it, simply by using the QR code.
27%.
Is that a spot?
That is a spot. That's a TV
man.
spot. It's a TV, and we're doing a CTV spot. 22% increase just from that. So these are the kind of stories that are bubbling up to us, and I'm trying to gather as much of these success stories that we can share them with you guys. You can share them as you're developing, but this is the immediate engagement. And every time I mention this, I say within 15 minutes of a spot airing, you can collect that data and information. So
it's real time now, Mitch. So if you have a live TV event, your real time scan analytics are going to come in, and it's amazing. But even within 15 minutes, right? Like even that conversation, when has anybody been able to run a spot? And then, there are attribution companies out there who are looking at a website traffic window of 8 minutes, and they're like, oh yeah, any traffic that comes in here is through your media. But never before have we had a measurement tool that was this directly linked to that viewer, and that opens up so many different conversations about well, why are we measuring TV with Nielsen and ComScore when we have a larger sample size of people who are just directly interacting with this TV? It opens up a whole other conversation about measuring TV viewership.
Yes, you're looking at inside of news content. You've got a debate going on. We've got a primary today. What if we put a QR code at the bottom of the screen and said, did you vote today? And as soon as they scan the code, it says yes or no. And you take that immediate response in a live news and say, hey, in North Texas, people who are watching right now, this is the percentage of people who took the moment and shared with us. So I think these are all going to be part of the conversation as we move forward about how we incorporate this stuff.
Absolutely. Nick, you look like you're chomping at the bit to say something there.
No, I was gonna, and then I was like, I'll wait. I was gonna do the spirit fingers and be like, and I had a really relevant point, but like I'm pretty spent at the end of today. Mitch has had to save me like 3 times in this conversation. So I no longer need to cut. Because Mitch, this is what I do when I need to cut, so that when I'm scrolling through it, I can see my spirit fingers. And
it's really smart. I gotta keep that in mind. Although Megan knows that we try to go live to tape.
Oh man,
and that's why you get a podcast that's 42 minutes of me blathering about QR codes.
That's what we were talking about. That was the whole goal.
It was a Megan monologue, but let's be honest, when does that not happen?
Well, listen, when Megan speaks, people
listen. I don't know if you know, but you can't accidentally scan a flow code, Mitch.
I don't know. The whole world's saying that now. So when somebody else comes
what's
up
funny
with
is that she
better,
wasn't
we'll
here
have
for
a
the part where I
conversation.
was just ripping her for being like, don't say that you say that to other, like, this is going to be a much better cut together podcast. We talked to a guy at Pix 11, Eric, who was saying a lot of the same stuff you're saying, Mitch, about, okay, car advertisers are pulling out, auto mechanics, you're in, put the spot there. Hey, you can't get a new car. You should probably get yours checked out. Scan this code right now, book the next appointment. And then, we've seen, and we like talking about some of these different executions, because like I said, it's about passing on wins and having better messages. Lawyers, hey, you probably will never need to call me at Buy Golf and Roadie, but if you do get into trouble, scan this code. We're going to be in your phone book. And that goes into a whole different marketing like plan and scheme. Okay, you're in their phone book. Now, where are you going to be served to them more? Your Facebook page is going to get whatever down the line. But we haven't been able to think about that stuff. So it feels like we're playing catch up a little there, but the options are so many. I mean, HVAC, hey, it's going to be spring soon. You should probably get your air conditioner. I mean, I'm just vamping now, but like,
no, I think action that are like measurable. It's the measurable result that's easy. And like, so like it could be something like that, schedule a test drive, some of the things that we've seen, it's like enter for a chance to win, not you're gonna win, but you might. And it doesn't even have to be anything crazy. And you see conversion rates of like 100%. And it's so simple. It's almost deceptive, right? Like we come up, like everybody thinks QR and TV and then what? And the reality is that none of this is rocket science. It's just, there has to be a value exchange and a measurable result. And Flowcode gives you the ability to literally soup to nuts control that entire story. Like as a publisher, as an ad seller, whoever that is, you suddenly can see the performance of every aspect of your campaign and understand exactly how your viewers are responding to you. I don't know. It blows my mind all the time. It blows my mind all the time.
I think it comes down to, if you can dream it, we could probably execute it. It's a matter of getting out of your own way and saying, okay, let's look at this big thing and how do we make this work? And it's an easier execution than people. They just need to try it. They need to sample it. They need to take a spot and be willing to say, all right, let's allot 25% of our rotation with this spot, with this QR code, and just see what happens. You're going to run the spot anyway. The only difference is you got the QR code. Let's just see if people will respond.
It's not going to hurt you.
Yes.
I'd like to keep it hard to get a hold of me, though.
Yes.
I like to be elusive.
I don't love having to hire people to staff Sundays when I wasn't open before, and now I am because of, demand increase. I hate that.
I hate being busy.
I hate making money.
Me
Screw
too.
leads. God.
So don't put QR codes in your spot, especially flow codes, which work better.
Speaking of work, I went down to the boardwalk and walked, and every single window had a help wanted sign. We're helping with recruitment. I mean, this is a great tool to get people to apply. If you're looking for skilled labor and the kind of programming that they're watching, you program those ads to reach those people that are within that target. And again, we're not the Indeed of the world. We're getting you an immediate action. And it's faster actually than
Yes.
that, because we're providing that like immediate response. So, we're doing this so fast that people are going to expect the results before it actually happens. That's what's next. People, because
Right.
remember when you had to wait a minute for your computer to kind of like get online?
Yeah.
And now if it's more than 10 seconds, you're like, what's wrong with my computer?
We're spoiled now. Well,
My
that's
son
exactly
makes
spoiled.
fun of that noise. My son
Yeah.
makes fun of that noise. He's 9, and he'll be like,
Dial-up
remember
noise?
when you had the internet when you were a kid? Like, ee. And I'm like, don't you invoke that sound, child.
That's
Who's
right.
always
No.
had
You didn't
a
earn
shelf
that.
of
The
content
response to
pick
that
from.
is, I was alive before the internet. That's
that
the
doesn't-
ground shaking one now.
He thinks that's the dinosaur times. And
That's right. It was the dinosaurs and then the internet. But I grew, I came of age right out of the Army, going to college, starting my career. That's when I got AOL. I had started my first job after college and the Army, and then I set up an AOL account, and I came home, rushing home every night to open my computer to hear these words: "You've got mail."
yep. And like, you were sad when this was a time when you didn't have spam mail.
That's
Like,
right.
your email was just from humans
Was
who wanted to
just
give you something.
email.
Exactly.
Oh God, remember those days?
Could you imagine today? You've got 1,400 emails.
Yeah.
It would be
Like
a little different.
immediately now.
Now, if you didn't get mail, it would say something kind of like, "I feel sorry for you because you're pathetic," but it was like, "You have no mail.
Yeah, hey loser.
Go find friends."
And that's the end of the podcast right there.
And on that note,
I should ask, Mitch, you put up that video around Christmas time. I was going to ask if you had someone come in and like professionally shoot it. Because like ornaments and.
Oh, yes. My friend Danny, who was a photographer at one of our local stations, I hired him as a freelance to come out and shoot
Oh, cool.
all of the footage, and then we got it all edited together. And
did Adam talk in this one? I don't think that I saw
no,
it.
so what did he do this year? Oh, he did speak, but I took the voice and I made it like 30 octaves higher.
Ah.
We're ending on a high note.
So that's Nick. That's Mitch, and their thing is that his husband doesn't talk in the Christmas video at all.
And we've been doing this for like 10 years. So
Okay.
every year, like one year he was an elf on a shelf. One year it cut to like color bars. One year he was getting ready to speak and he just like, I just can't do it. So we had to come up with excuses every year. And then during COVID, we had him with a mask on and he takes the mask off and he's got duct tape over his mouth. Well, Adam's taped this year. So I don't know what we're going to do next year. We've broken the seal where you hear his voice, but it was a joke after the first year where he did the speaker, but he goes, "Why didn't Adam say anything in the first video?" And that became the joke. That became the game.
See, I'm late to this game. I just saw the one was like, oh, that's really pretty footage. I wonder if Mitch shot that. But because I know you spent some time, right? You like
I do production.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a background in production. I actually started as a broadcast journalist, producer, director. My first job out of college was with KTAB, a Next Star station, in 1998. And then I realized the people with the nicest cars were the salespeople. So I wanted to do that. And I also didn't want to come in at 2 and leave at 11.
Yeah. I started in 2000 on floor crew. It's a different scenario, different time.
A different world, yes.
I mean, it was, but I like to say I've never had a job since. Like I went to like camp TV and just got to stay there. And now I don't know what I am now, a camp counselor.
Yeah, probably. You're almost like the director of the camp now.
I don't know if we're there yet. Someday.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Nick and I are the ones who have to lead the songs at mess hall. That's what we do. Yep.
Yeah. Now I want to go watch Meatballs again.
Never seen it.
Oh,
is that the one with John Candy?
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray.
Oh, it's Bill Murray. We like it.
Yeah.
It's not Stripes though.
Well, there's Stripes. He's in that too, but this is called Meatballs, and it came out in the late 70s.
I didn't see it.
Filmed, by the way, the same location as Friday the 13th. little movie trivia.
Oh, a little movie trivia there.
I like the sequel, Saturday the 14th.
No one ever gets that. I love that. I thought it was so stupid and funny too, but they actually made a movie called Saturday the 14th.
I didn't know that was a thing. I just made up the idea but like, I'm going to go with it and pretend like.
Well, it is. Like, I'm like, Nick, you're my new best friend that you knew that. And I find out now that I really am still the only one that knows about Saturday the 14th.
Congratulations. That makes you like original hipster level Mitch West. We should say, we've kept you for a while here. Where can, like, we talk about QR on TV and QR in all these other places. Sometimes maybe people get tired of our same stories, but Mitch, where do they find you and your efforts to help TV go?
Oh, I love that. It's the Marketing Detective. You can find it wherever you find your podcast. Just look up Marketing Detective.
Nice.
Love that.
Yes, would love for you. And I'm proud to say that Megan was part of my award-winning season. We won a Telly Award for Best Podcast in Marketing and Advertising Education category.
I love that for you. Congratulations, Mitch. That's fantastic.
Thank you. Yes, we're very, very happy. And my podcast has had over 100,000 downloads across all of the platforms I think we've done 20 episodes, and it's this little thing that could. And it started out of my history in broadcasting and not being able to travel because of COVID. So we decided to carry on the conversation. I decided once there were over 22 million podcasts, it was time for me to do a podcast.
There you go. I mean, gotta cut through the clutter.
That's right.
Hey, Mitch.
They said, Mitch, your number's up.
Mitch, we need some content.
We need new content.
Bring it is how they put that. Very cool. Well, thanks for doing this, Mitch.
Hey, guys, thank you for inviting me to be a part of this. I'm glad we could work it in within my travel schedule, and just love working with you guys. And we thank you for what you bring this arsenal to Nexstar and our stations. We really appreciate it.
You enjoy the Myrtle beaches here, Mr.